So we are now recording this session.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll go back to here. Okay, folks. So we'll get started. So thanks for joining us this evening. We're gonna run through some slides that we've got prepared here about how to build your real estate team, and we have ours, but even ours, there are changes that happen over time, different projects, different focuses from different people who have different specialties. So we're going to run you through how we've built our team up, how we see it, because there's different levels at which you have people on your team, and we're going to talk our way through that as well. And then when we're done talking about the different levels that we think you need to be considering who to put on your team and when to put them there, then we'll talk a little bit about the ins and outs of picking them and getting them on your team. Okay. So agenda. So first people on, well, we'll just go through the bullets. So I won't speak to them too much detail. We're going to talk about partners, your primary team, your design team, your construction team, your operations team, and then we're going to talk about how you engage your team. Partners, and you can see over here on the right, I've got friend, spouse, sibling. It's to emphasize the fact that, excuse me, this is not a consultant or someone you hire. This is someone you're deciding to go into business with. And real estate investing, particularly if you're going to do anything on the development side, it's a business. And if you're doing it all on your own, it can be a heavy load on your shoulders. Frankly, I find even with a partner, it's often a heavy load on your shoulders anyway. But we do it as a couple together. So my spouse is my partner, her spouse is her partner and slave. And
you tell that you have heavy load because you have a partner?
No, my partner helps make my load not as bad as it would be, for sure, most of the time. But they're important to have. They'll help you share the load. They help you share the risks. Ideally, they help you share the work as well. And normally they're going to bring a complementary set of skills to the team. No one has all the skills they need when they start. I would suggest that even when they're well along in the path, they still don't have all the skills they need. And having a partner with you, A, brings more skills to the table right from the get-go, and B, allows you to acquire skills at twice the rate that one person could, so you can grow your capability a lot faster with a partner. The last bullet we have on the slide there is your partner brings the same level of commitment to your success. That's a really important one, and I would highlight that one. When you're choosing a partner,
it's like your accountability partner.
Yeah. You want someone who is going to be as engaged and focused and driven as you. It's not really a partnership if one person is leading the charge and the other person is just there. Then when that happens, you're probably talking about someone who's more interested in sharing the rewards, not necessarily sharing the work and sharing the risks. So make sure that the person you pick as your partner, if you're going to have a partner, is someone who's just as committed to the success of your business endeavor as you are. All right, when you get past that first teammate, so we're going to talk about your expertise, and what we mean here by your expertise is this is the knowledge that you need to have or to grow that you can't necessarily give off to consultants, at least not wholly. Project planning and management, you can have a project manager, and we do.
Well, let's say you need to have this knowledge to find the right consultants.
Yes. Yeah. If you don't have an understanding of what your project looks like and how you're going to implement your project and deliver it, it's going to be impossible even to find a consultant who's going to take you through that. Or if you do find a consultant who's going to take you through that, you need to understand enough to know that A, you have the right consultant, and B, they're doing all the right things in the right order for your project to be successful. So that level of knowledge, you have to have that for yourself. Budgeting, same deal. Your project manager can put a budget together for you if they're already quite knowledgeable in the area. but they're going to be looking to you to validate that budget, and you're going to need to know enough to be able to do that. Your real estate knowledge, and that's a pretty broad and general bucket, but again, you're the person in the team or in the group who needs to have that expertise, you and or your partner. Contracting skills, we're going to talk about that later when we talk about how you get your team engaged. It's all contracts, whether they call it a consulting agreement, whether it's actually you're engaging a general contractor, or you're hiring basically anybody. It's all through contracting. And then finally, finance, capital raising, knowing about equity and knowing about debt, and how to talk to mortgage brokers, those kinds of things. Those are the basic skills that you and your partner need to bring to your projects. And while you can get people to help you with some of them, you need to be the one leading the charge in those areas.
Yep.
So let's talk about your primary team. And you need these people when you're just getting started. So who are they? Your real estate agent. And the order is not necessarily the order in which you have to find them, although I would suggest in this case you want to establish your relationship with your real estate agent before you talk to really anybody else. That's the person who you're going to use to help you find your projects. And I know, like, I hear experienced people talking about finding off-market deals often. We've never had an off-market deal. All of our deals have come from the MLS. And you can find really good deals on the MLS if you know what you're looking for, and if you have a good real estate agent. They go hand in hand. Mortgage broker, same deal. Real estate lawyer, they are important. A couple of times I've had my wrist slapped by my lawyer for not bringing them into our planning early enough. So I'd suggest you find one there who's good at holding you accountable for what you're doing. I mean, my lawyer has gone on and done the things we needed to get done with a bright, positive attitude after he's told me he should have been involved sooner. And I don't do that anymore now. He's involved very soon when we go to do something. But you need someone in there who's on your side and making sure that you're doing things the right way. Accountants are necessary. They'll tell you how to structure your investments. You should have that talk with the accountant. Almost the first person, one of the first people you talk to when you decide you want to do real estate investing. They're going to tell you whether you should do it incorporated or in your personal name, the pros and cons of those kinds of things. And he's an important consultant early on when you're structuring things, and then they're important on an ongoing basis because you're supposed to do your taxes every year. Insurance broker is another one. You have insurance on your home, and that's a normal thing. But if you're going to be doing development projects, you're going to have insurance on land. You're going to have insurance during construction phase, and then you're going to have insurance on rental properties. So having a broker with a broad background who can carry you through all those different stages of a project is very good. I've got coach and mentor there as a. I just realized that I'm going through those, but not through these. Stand by here. I've got coach and mentor there, but that's a different one, and we don't have one. We'll be upfront about that. But I do see their value, particularly if you're starting out. A coach or mentor can avoid a lot of pain. You learn a lot of lessons, and learning lessons is basically making mistakes and fixing them and moving forward. Coaches, as long as they're the right coach for you and they're coaching you on the things that you want to do, you're not fitting into their program. Let me rephrase that. Their program and what you want to do need to be aligned. So if you find one who's honest, ethical, experienced, and who's delivering a program that gets you where you want to go, then I think they're a great investment as well.
Yep.
So how do you find them? How do you find these people that you want to put on your team? So online directories and searches, Google. Basically, Google is your friend. Some of the people that are on our team now, Maria found through a variety of different online search engines, and we've had excellent relationships with those people, and they've done very good work for us. And we think that's a way that we shouldn't avoid doing that. I know everybody wants to do stuff through personal referrals, but you cast a bigger net when you start to do online searches, and sometimes that net will bring you in some really good fish. Industry associations, Ottawa Real Estate Board, Ottawa Construction Association, Architects Associations, Engineering Associations, all of these organizations have specialty consultants that you're going to need, and you can go there to find them if you can't find them in any other way. And even if you can find them in other ways, it's also not a bad place to go to get references for people that you find. Personal referrals, if you're just coming into this, your coach is not local, and you don't have a network to rely on, that one can be challenging. But if you already have contacts in the real estate investing world, or your coach is a local one or knows your particular market, then personal referrals is a great way to find people who already come vetted through people that you know. So that's a pretty powerful way to find people, and those are often better than just finding cold, although there's exceptions to that as well. Networking events. Oreo, we speak highly of Oreo. We go every month. We're going to go there again on Wednesday. Hopefully we'll see most of you there. And that's also a great place. If you walk into a networking event with the goal of saying, I need to find myself a new real estate agent, or I need to find an investor focused one, or one that knows how to find this type of property, or anybody else on that list, you set yourself that goal at the beginning of the evening and work hard at it, you will come up with some names.
Yep.
Workshops and seminars, same kind of thing. Again, you're going to be around like-minded people, people who are doing the kinds of things that you want to learn about at the workshop or at the seminar. So that's a nice place to find people. And I say marketing, but specifically their marketing, not your marketing. So that goes back to Google searches. It goes back to having your eyes open when you drive around the city. Even you'll see signs. I don't know how many times I've driven by a bus park bench with a realtor's face plastered on the side of it. And Maria's going to tell a story, I think, about how we found our real estate agent, and it was through his marketing. In fact, I think that's coming up here next.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll tell a story about how we found our agent, and this is Maria's story because Maria found it.
Well, no, we both were looking for an agent when it started in 2013, I think, 14. We renewing it to have an agent because we were planning to start with wholesaling, and for that you need an agent as well. We weren't planning to become agents ourselves because we understood that it's heavy enough load to be a developer without being an agent. For some people it might work, not for us. So we started looking around, and we called multiple people. We went through dozens probably of agents, went with them on the showings, asked them to put an offer, multiple offers. And well, it didn't work. People didn't, our agents didn't want to put low offers that they would think lowball offer. We would not think it's lowball offer for the type of property we offering, but that was a misalignment there. Some people said that, well, we established in like single family house buying for families. We don't want this kind of hassle. So, and some we just didn't align personally. We were already in pretty, well, at least I was in a pretty big distress because it looks like we went through every single agent we saw on a bus stop picture and everywhere, and nothing worked.
And I'll interject here. We didn't just go to bus stops. We did use personal referrals
Yes.
We
Met people
we,
at
we did
Oreo as well.
we did the things that we spoke about
Everything
on the
we talked.
previous slide.
Yes, exactly.
But that just gets you exposed to people with the skill set you're looking for. There still needs to be alignment. Talk about that again later, but it's that alignment thing that we struggle with our real estate agent. We found lots of them.
Exactly. So, and as you can see this picture, this is our house at that time, the one with red minivan. That was our car, this Google picture. And when we were looking for an agent, our house was actually on the market, and we did have an agent to buy another house, but that our agent said that he's not for this kind of hustle to run around and find distressed properties with us. So we end up moving to another house, and a year later, we still didn't find an agent for us. And then I said, then remember that guy next door. As you see, both lawns, both front lawns have the signs for sale, and those are different agents there. And the agent on the white and red sign was an agent for our neighbors. We visited the open house a few times. We spoke with him, very young, energetic guy. We liked him a lot. And the funny thing was that...
Tell the long story.
Exactly, I was gonna. So our neighbors didn't particularly care about the backyard because they didn't go there, and it was like waist-long growth there.
And waist high growth.
So yeah, waist high growth, and the house market was tough, and we had quite a few open houses on both sides of our semi. And every time when it would be open house, we would come in the morning, tidy up the house, mow the grass, and prepare our house. And the other side, the owner moved out, and that would be agent who would do everything. And as we open our curtain in the morning, we see in the backyard, and the yard is pretty big. It's the lot is 185 foot deep, so it's very long backyard. And we see our agent in a suit mowing this tough weeds every Sunday. And then I would joke and said, jokingly said to them, we should call our agent, we need to mow our grass. And well, that was just fun. And but when we run out of our choices with agent, I thought, Ben, remember that young guy who would do everything, who would go above and beyond and do this? So we remember his name was pretty distinctive. So we Googled him and found his name and called him, and we met with him, and we worked with him ever since. It's like almost 10 years now. So yeah.
It's not almost 10 years anymore. It's 10 years.
It's 10 years. Okay. So yeah, it can be funny story in the beginning, but then you can find people who you will work with everywhere.
Yep. And that was a matter of having your eyes open. It took us a little while to make the connection in our brain, but there was someone who didn't mind doing whatever it took to get a sale. And I think we've bought like 12 properties through him and sold 3. So he's it's been a great relationship both ways there. So those are the people on your team that you need to have, I think, before you even go off and find yourself a project. But when you have those people and you start to work with your agent to find your first project, you're gonna find that piece of land that you do your numbers and you say, this is it, gotta have it. So when you have your first project selected, that's when you start to need. Now you need to grow your team again. Now, sorry, T's giving me gas. Now you need to find yourself a team that is going to get you through the design phase of your project. And these are a team that you need for each project. So these can be project specific. You can use them on multiple projects. You can use them for one, and then the next project is very different in nature, and you're going to have a whole different design team. Who do you need on your design team? And this is we'll call this our QA. This is our cat on our drawings that we're looking at. And the first person, I think that the most important person on your design team is your architect. and you need to pick that person, I think, before you pick just about anybody else. And in fact, once you've gone through the effort and selected yourself an architect, the architect can often play a role in helping you find the other people that you need for your team. They don't have to, but especially if you find one who's experienced and has worked in your area for a while, they'll have connections with all of the people that support them to get a design done. So architect, surveyor, urban planner, that's making the assumption that you need to do something through way of entitlements with your land, either a severance or a variance, or if it's a larger project, even site plan control.
Zone change.
Or a zoning change. Engineers, and I have a list of them on the next page. There's a lot. You'll need an appraiser. You'll need an arborist, because you can't submit for a building permit now without having a tree report, it seems. And a market research consultant. And that market research consultant is someone who's going to help you verify the income side of any project. And of course, I leave your coach mentor on this as well, because if you're got the right one, they're going to bring value to you while you go through your design process as well. So I said engineers, many. So geotechnical, civil, structural, mechanical. I didn't say it, but the mechanical guy will often help you with the plumbing side of your drawings as well. Electrical, energy modeling, that's required. Oh, stand by. We just had a beep on the call there. So I'm not sure if that's someone coming in or someone leaving. Someone wants to join the call. Oh, admit. Okay. Right. And then back to, where was I? Energy modeling. For our projects, it's a requirement for everyone. May or may not be for yours. Traffic and noise studies. That tends to be more when you get into site plan control. And then acoustics. That's an often neglected part of the design, but it's an important part, especially if you want high quality tenants. So how do you find them? Similar to finding the first people in your team, referrals from other team members, because now remember you already have the basis of a team started. Industry associations, personal referrals. Look at current projects in your area. So if you're considering doing a development project, by now you should be highly sensitized to what's happening in the areas that you're looking at. And when you're highly sensitized to those kinds of things and you're driving by construction sites, you will often see placards put up on the construction fencing where the architect is advertised, the general contractor is advertised, the developer is advertised. So you'll see signage for the companies that are responsible for the buildings that are going up. And if you keep your eye out for that, then you're going to see people who are actively engaged in your market now. Networking again, back to Oreo or whatever networking event you participate in, and then of course marketing. Again, you have to be open and receptive to find that kind of an individual.
Yep.
Okay, you're going to say something.
Well, I can find how we found our architect.
Oh, you can. So it's story number 2.
Yeah. Well, so we had after our first new build construction, we started to look around. We thought, well, one architect is not enough. We want to broaden our search because we only met like one architect. So we wanted to look around and see if we can find others, especially if you're doing multiple projects. Sometimes it's good to engage different people, different projects. So, and we purchased a piece of land, and this very building was next to this, almost next to this piece of land. And when we drove by, we thought, oh, well, this is beautiful, huge mansion. And we wondered who designed this. We Googled it, and we found that it's actually a semi-detached building with 2 secondary suites. So it means that's 4 units in this building. And then we thought, well, that's awesome, because that's exactly what we're planning to build on our newly acquired land. And we contacted the architect and his design team, and engaged them for this our project that will be built in the area.
So this is one of those keeping your eyes open and being attuned to what's happening around where you plan to do your development. This building stood out for us as being well integrated with a not flat piece of land. And when we discovered that it was a 4-unit building and we were looking at doing multi-unit ourselves in a similar fashion, it was 4-unit when we bought the land. Now it's 6, but same style of development. We felt like we had to meet this guy and find out what he did. We went to his website, we researched him, we looked at the buildings that he's done. They're very similar to the one you see in the picture, and we thought, yeah, that's a lovely looking building that we like. And so we went and met with him, and we now have him engaged on a number of different projects for us. So keeping your eyes open, and then proactively going and looking at what's out there, what's been built recently, and who did it, and finding someone who has a product you like. And then that's the first step. Then you have to meet that person and make sure it's someone that you're going to be able to work with. But we'll skip ahead a little bit. There's more to just finding projects that you like. You still have to be able to work with the people on the team.
I found our mechanical guy we worked for a few years with. As well, we were just submitting some plans the city, and he was in his van there with the advertisement on his site. So I actually flagged him and stopped him and asked him if he would be able to do what we need. And he, in fact, was very interested in that particular style of heating and cooling. So yeah, we did a few projects with him.
That's the guys from Go?
No.
I remember.
Yes.
I remember. Okay, so that's building your team and finding the people for your design team. When you get through the design process and you're ready to go and start to implement your project, you now need to put a construction team together, and you need these guys, these team members, so that to help you implement the project that you've got designed, permitted, and financed by them. So who's on your team when you get to this stage? Well, general contractor. I mean, that's an obvious one. Everybody would see that. Can also be a construction manager, and they might not be the same person. They can be the same person, but they don't have to be, or it's the same company, same organization, but they can also be different. You're going to need a quantity surveyor. This is assuming that you're at the level of a multifamily, where your construction lender is going to want to be satisfied that you're putting the building up and taking draws from his construction mortgage appropriately. You need your lawyer. It's a real estate lawyer. It's the same one that you have on your team at the top. And he's going to help you get money from a construction loan. And again, you're going to need your insurance broker. And this is, you're going to need a different policy for this phase than you have for when you have a building up. Those are the main people on the team for going through the construction phase. And so then the next thing is, how do you find those people? And so when you get this far along, you're going to have a good sized design team behind you. And it certainly doesn't hurt to ask them who they would recommend you talk to. Again, you have to do your own due diligence once you've found them, but that's a good place to start. If you've been driving around your area looking at the other projects that have been going up, again, read those signs on the construction fencing. Look at the signs on the sides of the trucks that are parked on the site. And if you see a site where things look neat and it looks like things are proceeding at a good pace, and you think that this person would be someone to talk to as well, get out of your stop, get out and go find the person who owns that truck and have that conversation. Get started like that. That's a very good one. And then industry associations, again, OCA is the Ottawa Construction Association. They have a good website, and they have a directory that I've been able to go look at, even though I'm not a member. GOBA, Greater Ottawa Home Builders Association, again, a lot of developers there. I don't think you can look at that list online, though. And then obviously marketing, back to the signs, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see if I can stand by, folks. We have another beep beep here. Call. Okay. And then back to where we were. All right. So yeah, that's how I would suggest you can start to find your team. That's primarily your general contractor. I'll admit you don't see quantity surveyor signs hanging off too many fences. But again, if you go back to your design team,
There would be referrals
you can
mostly,
get
yes.
referrals from them for quantity surveyors that have worked on their projects before, and that's a good way to go. What comes after that? So you've done your project, your building's up, you now need to start to operate your building. So now you need what we call your operations team, and these are the people that you need to get your new building occupied, and then keep it running smoothly, keep your tenants happy, keep everything working. So the first person you're going to need for that side of the house is a leasing agent. You're going to start with a new building that's empty, and you need to fill it up. So you're going to have to go off and advertise, show your tenants through, qualify them, get them signed up, and get them in the building. That's all done through your leasing agent, and you can see our leasing agent there in the picture. This was COVID times. It's actually 2020. This was like right in the early days of COVID. It was September. You need a property manager. They can be the same person, but they don't have to be. And by that I mean the leasing agent and the property manager. I've seen it done together. I've seen it done separately. We do it together just because the lady in the picture is also our property manager. So we get two jobs out of that one person. We work her pretty hard. You need maintenance trades. I guess the first year your building has a warranty on it, but you're going to need to operate it beyond that first year, and you're going to need a mechanical guy that can come and service your equipment, an electrician that can come as needed, and the P part's the plumber, and he's the one you're probably going to see more than you're going to see the mechanical or electrical person. People plug things up. It's unbelievable sometimes what happens there, and with all new plumbing too. It's anyway, you're going to need someone that you can.
Insurance or your warranty is not going to help you.
No, the warranty doesn't fix a plug toilet. You have to have a plumber for that. Well, actually, you don't. I mean, if you send a handyman, or maybe your property manager can take care of the simple things, but sometimes it's not a simple thing, and then you need to have a plumber. The grounds need to be kept up, and that some property managers offer that service, but not all of them do. Snow clearing, your insurance company is going to insist you have a snow clearing contract if you have parking for tenants, and it's I don't know, maybe if it's a single family house you don't need, but all of ours are multi-tenanted and we have to have a snow clearing contract. Again, your insurance broker is going to come and be involved here, but now it's more of a typical policy. And then you're operating your building year over year. You need an accountant and you need a bookkeeper. And again, sometimes the property manager will do some of that for you, maybe even all of it, but they're not going to file your taxes for that. You need to have an accountant on the team. So how do you find your operations team? Brokerages, particularly the commercial ones, will offer leasing services. So if you have an 8 or a 10 unit building that you want to get all fully leased up, you can go talk to commercial brokerages, and they will, maybe not all of them, but I know many of them will offer a leasing service where you can contract them to fill your building. You can also use real estate agents to do that. If I had a big building to fill, I think I would be looking for more of a specialized leasing agent than a real estate agent. But if you're turning over 1 or 2 units, I think a real estate agent would be fine for that. Again, if you don't have it done by your property manager. Property managers, personal referrals, I think, or advertising to find them. Usually architects and general contractors often don't know who property managers are, so you won't be able. It's tougher to go back to the people who are already on your team and ask them to help you fill that role.
Or you can ask for your fellow real estate investors.
That you
most likely.
That you can.
For those referrals.
And then the other bullets are the same ones that we say for everything else.
Same search.
Yeah.
Just you never know where you get lucky with this one.
True. So that's at the different levels of going through the kind of projects that we take on, how, when, and who you have to find, and a little bit about how we have personally found some of ours. Once you've identified once you start looking for who you want to work with, it's good to be aware that you're going to have a contractual relationship with everybody that's on your team. And so getting those people brought onto your team, it's important so you have to make sure that they're compatible with you, that they see things the way you see them, but you also want to make sure the contract you're signing is the right one as well. So steps to follow here. When you start to, and this assumes you've identified people already. So we're not talking about how you find them. We're talking about what you do to get from I found them to I'm pretty sure I want to work with them. So check credentials and experience. And I'll say I use LinkedIn as my first starting point for pretty much everybody. If they're an architect or a general contractor, you're talking to a manager and owner of a general contractor company, most of these people have a LinkedIn profile, and I'm pleasantly surprised to find most of those profiles are up to date. So you get a quick look on where they've worked before and what their experience and credentials are like just by a 3 minutes read on the LinkedIn profile. You have to interview the people that you're going to work with, and it needs to look like an interview. I know when we started this, when we were first talking to real estate agents, I was uncomfortable that we were basically, I call it an interview / interrogate. But I've gotten a lot more comfortable with that over time. It's not an interrogation, but it is making sure that they're that they do what you want them to do, and that they're comfortable doing what you want them to do. I got some notes for myself here. Be sure that you understand what they're going to do for you and how they normally operate. This is an important thing. When you meet with them, don't tell them what you want them to do. Ask them what they normally do and listen and make sure that what they normally do and how they normally do it, which is the second part of that question, that aligns with your expectations. If you tell them what you want them to do and how you want them to do it, most will say yes. But if it's not what they already do and what they're already comfortable with, there's going to be friction. So it's
it won't be friction initially. It will be friction when we come to the point when we expect it to be done the way that we ask, and it's going to be already done the way that
your consultant normally does his work.
Usually does it.
Yeah.
So, and we had this frictions in the past few times, but fortunately, Len was able to prevent them to go into big frictions because of, well, first of all, he's good in resolving disputes with people, and then there's other things that you can prepare for this exact cases.
Yeah, but so it's one thing to manage, and there's going to be differences in how you want things done versus how your consultants do things, no matter how well aligned you are. It's keeping them small and resolving them as quickly and painlessly as you can. And a very good start is to find someone who's already thinking the way you would like them to think and doing things that you want done, so you don't have to ask them to do something that's uncomfortable or out of the norm for them. That's usually a pretty big ask. So that's why I say let them tell you, and Maria pointed this out earlier when we were preparing for the talk here. Ask them how they do things and what they normally do, and then you have the opportunity to learn whether what they're offering is aligned with what your expectations are. Bring your list of questions to the interview with you, and if you don't write the answers down while people are talking to you, you should definitely, as soon as you leave that interview, sit while everything is fresh in your mind and write down everything you can remember. Especially if you're going to interview 3 or 4 people over a short period of time. 2 days after that's done, the answers are all going to blend together and you're not going to know who said what. So it's important to take notes during or right after each of the interviews that you do. And then you want them to provide you with their normal proposal or their normal bid template that they use when they're entering into a relationship with someone. And when you get it, make sure you read it. and read it carefully, and don't assume. And if you're not sure, you go back and you ask. That's the fact find and negotiate part we're talking to there. You want it to be absolutely clear between you and whoever you're engaging, that you both have the same understanding of what work they're going to do for you and how it's going to be done, how you're going to get paid, what the deliverables are, all those things. So they should normally include their version of that in their proposal to you, and then you have an opportunity to review that and make sure that it's aligned with your expectations. If you didn't have any before you got it, then hopefully you were speaking to more than one person, because the different proposals will give you some ideas of what the standards are for different things in your industry, or in the industry that you're trying to engage. If people give you references, check them. You'd be surprised sometimes at what you find when you check the references. And if they're happy to show you what their past work is, again, go and follow up. If you can find the owner of a project that's 4 or 5 years old, you can have an opportunity to ask that person. If you're vetting your architect, did the design work? Were the drawings good? Did you have problems with your general contractor getting them built? If you're vetting your general contractor, you talk to the person whose project you're at. How did he work? How did he deal with bumps in the road? How timely was he? Did he maintain his schedule? Were there a lot of extras? How did that kind of stuff go? That's it. Even when someone says, yeah, he was a good person to work with, that means that whoever the foreman, and that's another question too, is who did you work with at the company? If you check a reference that's 2 years old, maybe the foreman that was on the site is no longer with the company. And all these relationships are with people. So if it's not the same people, then the reference carries a little less weight, I would say that. And oops, sorry. When you're done, and by fact find, I mean ask questions about anything that you're not sure about, that's in the offer that you've got from the consultant or from the general contractor. And when you're happy that the fees, the payment schedule, the deliverables, the expectations and responsibilities are all understood between you and your consultant, then you go ahead and sign a contract. And it is important to get a signed contract. And I think that's it. That's all we have to say about who needs to be on your team and how to find them. So I'm going to stop sharing and find my. There we go.
And I just stop recording too.
And now I'm going to stop recording now.